The Blue Jays win in dominating fashion and force a Game 7. We'll be getting to all of it on Locked On MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome to MLB Game Night, every game, every night. I'm your Sunday night host, Brian McKeon, alongside my partner and Locked On Angels host, John Frisch. John, how we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I can't say I don't enjoy Vladdy Jr. in the postseason. I got a heart for Vladdy Jr. as an Angels fan, considering everything his dad did for my favorite team. So, yeah, feeling pretty good tonight.
Well, the two best words in all sports, Game 7.
That's
and
right.
Before I get to that, today's show is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code LOCKED on MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Now, final in this game, I think, is a little bit not indicative of what actually happened throughout this entire game. The score, I actually believe, is closer than how this game went. If that sounds crazy, you can let me know. We'll discuss it in a second. I do want to say before we start, this episode, and particularly us two hosting alongside each other, if you guys don't know, my day job is hosting Locked On Yankees. John hosts Locked On Angels, like I just mentioned. These are two division rivals of our own teams playing each other for the chance to win the pennant. Very interesting, a little bit, I guess, more heartfelt for me, just because this team kicked my team out of the postseason.
Right.
But this is a wild paradox that we find ourselves in between here. No?
Yeah, and some people would even, ask me, how do you feel about, a Mariners-Dodgers World Series? And I'd be like, oh, man, what else is on? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Both teams are really great. And honestly, as a baseball fan, this has been some really great postseason baseball for sure.
Absolutely. So a 6-2 final, a lot to discuss throughout the entire game. But as I said, the game, the way it was played at least, and the chances that were had and not taken advantage of, and particularly the opportunities the Mariners had in this game that they weren't able to convert on. This game was more like a 10-2 final, to be honest with you. I know the score is 6-2, but it was not nearly as close as the final score actually indicated. We'll get to all the stats in a second. First, I want to hear from Braden from Locked On Blue Jays, who discusses how the Blue Jays stepped up and were able to force a Game 7.
Who's ready for Game 7 in the 6? Trey Yesavage once again. Whenever there's a strikeout total, take the over with this guy. 5 2/3, he sets up this Blue Jays team for success, only giving up 2 runs. That's exactly what they needed from the kid. And the Toronto Blue Jays able to get it done at the plate. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hitting his 6th home run of the postseason, which ties him for the most in a single postseason with Jose Bautista and, of course, Joe Carter. What an outing. What a time. There's been a lot of questions about not only this bullpen, but Louis Varland and Jeff Hoffman. Louis Varland comes in, cleans up, gets the job done. And then Jeff Hoffman, the closer that we need him to be. That's what we need to see out of him. A great way to cap off this game. See everybody tomorrow.
They played really well. I'll give them that. I think this game early on, though, was a game that the Mariners weren't able to keep themselves in.
Yeah.
And was Yesavage good? Yes. But that's as far as I'll go, John. He was good in this game. He was not great. He was not elite. I wouldn't even call him an ace. He gave you what you needed in a postseason start to keep. He gave his team a chance to win. But 5 2/3, so didn't go very deep. 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. I thought they pulled him a little too early, and I wound up being, I think, kind of accurate because of the Mariners finally got something going after he was pulled. And there were 2 instances in this game, John, where the bases were loaded. The Mariners were able to load the bases and just not come through. And a lot of the bases were loaded because of pitches out of the zone, because of badly located pitches. I don't think Yesavage was elite in this spot by any means. I wasn't overly impressed by the stuff he had. I just think the Mariners, poor plate discipline, poor opportunities, didn't come through when they needed to. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I wasn't overly impressed by what they got out of Yesavage. I think he was pulled a little too early, but I don't think he just completely shut the Mariners down. I think it was more in the Mariners just not coming through when they needed to.
Well, give me 5 2/3 for a 22-year-old in his 6th major league start, and I'll take that every day. It reminds me of the late arrival of K-Rod for the Angels in 0-2.
Sure.
You know, Frankie Rodriguez coming up, being a secret weapon. But look, like that splitter, 31 splitters thrown, 10 whiffs, and 28 called strikes plus whiffs at 32% CSW on all his pitches. Just at the end of the day, those 3 inning-ending double plays across the third, fourth, and fifth innings, that's really what did it in. And so you throw that splitter down and the Mariners chase it. Like he had him fooled up there. Really, it's just like they couldn't figure him out. And I think that's the advantage of such a young guy who, you know, hasn't been around all season long. Not a huge book out on him, right? And they got to him in game 2. And so obviously the game plan changed. And so he put I guess all you can ask for is put the Blue Jays in a situation to win. And that's certainly what he did here.
This will be discussed a lot. Let me ask your baseball opinion on this. Cal Raleigh, third inning, comes up, bases loaded, has a chance with 1 out to really cause some damage and get the Mariners into this game.
Yeah.
He's on the first pitch, grounds out into an inning double play. Like it or hate it, the swing on the first pitch. I'll give you my opinion first. I actually like swinging on the first pitch there. This is the chance when Yesavage had walked about a runner in the inning already, needed to get a pitch over with the bases loaded, probably a little nervous too as a 22-year-old. He's going to probably put one over the plate. He did. Raleigh grounded out. I don't hate letting your superstar with nearly 60 home runs take a hack over there. Your opinion or no?
Yeah, you know what? I think honestly, like it was a little bit in on the hands on him. And so it's just a matter of like, you know, pitcher versus hitter, getting that bat head out as fast as you can. And it just happened to be, you know, a little bit late on Raleigh's part. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, when you're trying to figure out a guy at the dish like Trey Yesavage, and you're seeing the results that he's getting on, you know, ground ball after ground ball, splitter, all that stuff. Take a chance and go after him. And I think, you know, in that moment to attack, I think it was the right call. Just unfortunate it didn't work out for Raleigh in that moment.
Now, the big spot in that inning where I think they had an opportunity and weren't able to come through. J.P. Crawford gets the second on the Rivas hit on the top of the wall. And here's why this is an insane play to me. J.P. Crawford, if you watch the replay, is about halfway through first and second base. Now, with this ball off the bat and the way the outfielder was playing it, you knew the hit wasn't catching the ball. It was either gone or off the wall.
Right.
You have to be, base running wise, just slightly past second base. So you can either get to third, the batter gets to second base, and then you create second and third with 1 out in the inning. I know that the inning ends with a ground ball double play and the inning is over. I comprehend that fully, but hear me out. We cannot sit here and play the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. We did not know for a fact that the inning was going to turn out like it was. Yeah. And Yesavage is able to approach things significantly differently if he's facing first and second with the force and 1 out, as opposed to second and third with 1 out. The approach is different. The nerves are different. The anxiety is different. Everything changes when it's 2 runners in scoring position as opposed to 1. Yeah. So little things like that happen, and a lot of people are going to sit here and say, oh, well, they got out of the inning anyway, so what did it matter anyway? You don't know if things would have played out the exact same way. The anxiety and the nerves go up if things are different, and I just think that was a huge base running miscue early on in the game. I know it was only the 3rd inning, but John, games are won and lost in certain innings in these playoff games. That was an awfully crucial mistake in that spot.
And you look at something like what, you know, Vladdy Jr. did late in the game. He forced the issue at third base and caused Cal Raleigh to, you know, throw it past the third base, Suarez over there. And then he comes home and scores, and then it's 6-2, right? And, you know, the score is a whole lot different, kind of like what you're saying. A 5-2 score is a whole lot different than a 6-2 score, especially in these moments. So you just saw the Blue Jays just, you know, they pushed their thumb on the scale a little bit harder than the Mariners did, if they did at all in this one.
And the little things in these big time playoff games are so massive. Yeah. The base running, the focus has to be better in that spot. Remember, the Blue Jays were the team with all the pressure on them in this game, right? Not the Mariners. So to me, the Mariners need to come out to this game as the aggressor. They weren't. Now it's all even going into a game 7. Let's hear from Ty Gonzalez of the Locked On Mariners podcast. Seattle was sloppy. He acknowledges that. Let's hear his thoughts.
Streak at Mariner playoff games is officially over. This is Ty Gonzalez. This is the Locked On Mariners podcast here. Mariners lose 6-2 in Game 6 of the ALCS for the Toronto Blue Jays here at Rogers Center. It is very loud in here, as you can hear. Hazel Day is talking to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We'll see if you can actually hear me through all of this. Very sloppy game for the Mariners today. Bad game defensively, bad game on the base pass. They ground into 3 double plays to end innings, to end threats. They just got outplayed today. Plain and simple. They got out-pitched, they got out-hit. And now we go to a Game 7 because, of course, the Mariners would have to do this thing the hard way. We'll see if they can get it done tomorrow. Colby's about to go solo on the Locked On Mariners podcast. I'll talk to you in a bit. See you then. Peace.
Massive respect and really cool from him coming out of Rogers Center. And I'm assuming because he's there, he'll be at Game 7.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. Because on the road, that is a tough spot.
I'm pretty sure he's been at all the games because he's in Canada. Yeah. So yeah, good on Ty for being there and getting to watch his favorite team in the postseason. That's cool.
Yeah. Good luck for Game 7 on the road. That's a tough spot to find yourself in for sure. So as he said, Game 7, it is going to be tomorrow. It is going to be tomorrow night. It's going to be a fun spot for anybody who is not a Seattle Mariner or a Toronto Blue Jay fan. Baseball is the ultimate anxiety postseason sport, and it will be awful if you are a fan of either of those teams. Potential history going on here, though. Blue Jays get to win their first pennant since '93 and get back to the World Series, back to only their third pennant, and they've got 2 World Series titles. So we'll see what winds up happening there. Mariners, a chance for their first ever pennant in their history. So a lot of chances for history. Mariners have gotten close before, but it's never been able to get over this hump. We'll see if they can do it for the first time in their franchise's history tomorrow. Plus, in the next segment, a funny story from John relating to Vladdy Jr. and how, what could have been. What could have been. We'll preview all that on the other side. Guys, there's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets always seems to be the tough part. The queues, the login screens, the surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of even going sometimes. And that's why, for every event, I use Gametime, the app that gives you the advantage back to the fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price imaginable. Plus, all the fees are always included, so the price you see is the price that you are going to pay. The app is made super simple. I could even see my exact seat and the view before having to buy my ticket. The fees are included. You can know your total upfront with no surprise fees at the checkout. Plus, they have the zone deals feature, which you can pick the section for. Gametime will pick your seats, and you can save big. It's faster, it's cheaper, and it's less stressful than any other way that I've ever had to buy tickets. So here's what you're going to do. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code one word locked on MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Gametime today. 2 best words in sports, John, as I said earlier. Game 7. By the way, Major League Baseball, side note here, is thrilled that Toronto Blue Jays won this game because they did not want a sweep and a 6-game closeout for the Mariners to happen. That was not going to be acceptable on their part. So they got their Game 7. They got their must-watch moment, and I'm sure the World Series. We'll see how the gambling lines look in that spot, although I think the Dodgers are going to be significant favorites no matter who they play. Game will be tomorrow night, 8:08 p.m. on Fox nationally across. So look forward to that. I am going to very much enjoy getting home from work, throwing on my sweatpants, and just relaxing. I'll have the football on one screen. I'll have the game on the other screen. It will be a delight. Now,
there you go.
Someone like you who has seen your team in the postseason, seen your team play deep into the postseason, but I think this could have been this could be you. This could have been you. Right now, the Toronto Blue Jays, this could have been you. You could have potentially been hosting a lot more excited Locked On Angels podcast later on tonight. Now, truth be told, Locked On Angels, terrific show. You should all download it. If you're not, I don't know what's going on. But this show could be a lot more exciting if it was going into a Game 7 of the ALCS. I don't think you'll fight me on that one.
Right.
John, tell me how the hero in this series almost could have been a Los Angeles Angel.
Okay, so you have to go back to about 2014, and at the time, the current GM of the Mariners, Jerry DiPoto, was the GM of the Angels at this point. And he blew all their international bonus money on an international free agent named Roberto Baldacchini. You know Roberto Baldacchini, don't you, Brian? The famed, future Hall of Fame. No, just kidding. He never made it past AA. Nice. So because they blew all their money on him in 2014, that disqualified them from international free agency in 2015. You know, the year that saw Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Vladdy Jr. get signed in that international free agency period. And look, you can't tell me there wasn't an automatic pipeline from international free agency to the Angels with Vladdy Jr., but the Angels couldn't sign anybody because they were disqualified. And now that move has come back to bite current GM Jerry Dipoto in Seattle because Vladdy is just crushing his Mariners in this ALCS right now.
Yeah, a tough spot to see. Unfortunately, not the first time the Angels have handled things poor when it comes to the financial aspect of things.
You're telling me.
You could talk about the amount of guys out there, right?
Is that where we're going to take the show now?
Current state, post state. It's been 20 years in the making. This has all been the case for the Angels. Right. I am sorry to say that to you. But definitely a crazy story. I love those nuanced stories in sports of what could have been that some people love to bring up. So the likely starters for Game 7, not what you saw coming out of opening day of what could have been these two teams. Shane Bieber is likely going to be the starter for Toronto. Now, I think Toronto has officially announced this. It looks like George Kirby is going to start for the Mariners. Now, Can you confirm or deny? Was this reported by the Mariners, or is this more like speculation?
No, this was Talking Baseball. They've got it here. So George Kirby versus Shane Bieber in Game 7. Here we go.
Wild stuff for these two franchises. Those are the two guys that are playing Game 7. Now, it was made very clear for Toronto. Max Scherzer and Kevin Gausman will be available to come out of the bullpen for Game 7. I expect both of these guys to have extremely short leashes when it comes to, because we've seen this, by the way, when these games get away from these teams, it's lights out in this series. It has not been a lot of comebacks and crazy stuff going on. It's pretty much lights out when it gets away from you early. Right. In this series. The bullpens have actually held things down for the most part, which I don't think was a big handicap coming into this series. I'll tell you this Toronto team for me has not ever felt like the talent level and the expectation meets the hype, if that makes sense to you, throughout this entire postseason. Yet, they keep winning games. And they keep coming through when it matters most. Looking back to being down 2-0 in this series and then going to Seattle with their backs up against the wall and winning the games 3 and 4 to be able to force it to the point that it's at right now. I don't want to love Toronto in this spot.
I get it.
but I do like them.
Yeah.
And I trust Seattle more. And I like Seattle's lineup more. And I like Seattle's pitching more. I like the fact that they're going to have Brian Wu be able to come out of the bullpen tomorrow if possible. Like, I like what they have to offer. And on paper, I like what Seattle has. And at times, it has felt like Seattle could be a potential team of destiny type team with the fans crying in the stands and not happening for years and the pitching performances and all of that. And yet I sit here and watch Game 6 and think, how the Blue Jays was in this game.
Yeah.
With the way Vlad is playing. With the expertise in Springer being there, right? With the way Bieber pitched in his last start, where he looked pretty effective, right? With the emergence of a 22-year-old seemingly future ace who strikes everybody out in Trey Yesavage. All of the things that are going for the Toronto Blue Jays right now. Plus, you have the contributions from the lower end of the lineup. Look at what 7 through 9 is doing for the Blue Jays as opposed to 7 through 9 for the Mariners. It's a stark contrast between these two lineups. You're getting contributions from guys like Barger, who haven't shown up. You got guys on this roster that can show up at any time, like Varsho, who do things that are incredible. Plus, the thought of Bo Bichette being able to possibly play in the World Series after the year that he had, there just feels like there's too much going on between your superstar playing as well as he is in Toronto, between all of the lesser-known guys that are contributing to this run and to this team. It just feels like it's Toronto's position to win. I will say this, though. Based on the sports history in the city of Toronto, excluding the Toronto Raptors, count the Maple Leafs, Toronto doesn't have a great reputation of coming through in big Game 7s in their own city.
Yeah.
And not a great reputation. We'll see what happens. Do you think the crowd will be terrific or on edge tomorrow?
Ooh,
how do you think that plays out?
Well, first I want to point out this comment from your co-host on Locked On Yankees. Stacy said someone should invite Drake to Game 7.
For Toronto's sake, absolutely not.
Exactly. We don't need him to jinx anybody, right? We want to see some good baseball.
Great comment from Stacy there.
Look, I would have said going into this series, if you put the Mariners pitching staff up against the Blue Jays pitching staff. I mean, the Mariners take that 10 out of 10, right? But the kinds of seasons that Logan Gilbert and George Kirby have had, look, Kirby was hurt and he's working his way back from a significant injury. And so, going with him in game 7, I understand that like, that's a huge need. That's a huge ask. And, he's going to have to be a different George Kirby than he's been so far in this postseason. But I can't blame him for struggling because, again, he's been, coming out of this injury from this season. With Logan Gilbert, I'm a little bit more surprised with the way that he's performed in this ALCS. And so, I really thought coming into this that the Mariners pitching staff has the advantage. But here's what it comes down to. The Blue Jays put the ball in play. And they don't strike out. I got a note here. Vladdy's got 6 home runs and 2 Ks so far. And so it's just like Vladdy Jr. only has 2 strikeouts this whole time. Like, are you kidding me? But that's, indicative of the kind of team that the Blue Jays have been all season long. And so when you consider the fact that, you were mentioning the pesky guys, Ernie Clement, dude, like who was Ernie Clement before the season? Well, he's turned out to be the most pesky player in baseball because he's another guy who puts the ball in play. He had that dink hit tonight. Did he stretch it to a double? Right? Like it was just like
another guy, IKF, just puts the ball in play off the edge of his bat and makes you make a play. And they make you be perfect. I'll say this. Let's call it like it is and call guys out when they deserve to get called out. Logan Gilbert, your ace all year, didn't come through. Luis Castillo, he's paid like an ace, didn't come through. These guys, unfortunately, to win a championship in all sports, your superstars need to be your superstars. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been that. Cal Raleigh, I'm sorry, has not been as good as Vlad in this series. Got the big hit, of course, has not been Vlad in this series. And the Mariners don't do the little things. And we live in an era of baseball when it's all about the strikeout, all about the home run. I get it. Chicks take the long ball. It's been known in baseball that it's a great thing when the home run is hit. But the teams that do the little things are the teams that find themselves in these positions more often than not. Put the ball in play. Make your opponent be perfect. Put the pressure on your opponent. Case in point with all this, and then we'll move on to the next segment. John, the play with Vlad late in the game at third base, making Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh didn't need to throw that ball. The smart baseball play there, being down 3, is to eat that ball, live to fight another day, focus on the batter, and get yourself out of the inning. Instead, he feels the pressure of having to be perfect in that moment because Vlad is trying to take third. He tries to throw it. Suarez doesn't get in front of it. Ball gets into the outfield. Vlad scores. And like you said before, 5-2 feels like a mountain below 6-2. That's what these teams do to you. That's what perfect baseball will do to you. It puts a lot of pressure on the other team. We'll see if that pressure can stay ahead in game 7. It's going to be a lot to look forward to. On the other side, an interesting psychological argument between me and John Frisch, the host of Locked On Angels. Where would you rather be? In the mind of a Yankee fan or the mind of an Angels fan going into tomorrow? We'll discuss that and a little more of a preview of game 7, which will be tomorrow night. Guys, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you're not going to want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, I've tried player props, and I'm even following the live lines during every single game. It makes watching football that much more exciting when there's a little bit of juice riding on the action. Plus, today, watching football, how great was it? You got football as you're preparing for the baseball game later on. You got crazy comebacks. You got unexpected finishes like the Giants and the Broncos. You got the Chiefs just beating up on a division rival. So much fun. It's all available, and it's all available on FanDuel. And whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much more enjoyable. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com right now and download the FanDuel app today and get started. John, well documented. You guys, if you're not aware, watching this show, you should be the newest subscribers and the newest daily downloaders and the newest daily listeners of both Locked On Yankees and Locked On Angels. You need to get a little bit of an East Coast and a little bit of a West Coast perspective. Now, we give you all of that on Locked On MLB Game Night, but stay in the American League and get a little bit of taste of both. I think that's what you should be doing. You should be downloading both shows, and at bare minimum, just subscribe.
Yeah.
But lifelong Yankee fan here, as I said, host of Locked On Yankees alongside Stacey Gotsoulias, and John, host of Locked On Yankees and Locked On Angels, and Locked On Angels host. Now, Seattle Mariners, Angels divisional rival. Toronto Blue Jays, Yankees divisional rival. Lost the division to both of these teams. Now, the Mariners came back late in this division and kind of ran away with it in the last month of the year. And the Blue Jays had run away with it and let the Yankees back into it. Wound up winning on a tiebreaker because of the poor play the Yankees had throughout the entire season. Now, question first. Does your opinion or favorite or the way that you view this series, is it masked a little bit by the hat on your head? Or do you try to let things be a little more rational when you're analyzing the game? It's okay to admit if you're a little biased.
Totally. Well, I'll say this. Like I mentioned earlier, my fandom for Vladdy Jr. and everything that he's doing in the kind of postseason he's having, like that makes me so happy to see, because his dad did so much for our franchise. He's got 3 times as many postseason home runs now than his dad, as Braden mentioned, 6 postseason home runs, which is really cool. The last time I got to see Vladdy in the postseason as an Angel was against your Yankees in 2009 when you guys went on to win it all. And we just couldn't come through. But I'll say this. My interest in this series was the Blue Jays putting the ball in play, not striking out, versus the Mariners pitching staff. And as a fan of a team in the AL West, to watch and admire that Mariners pitching staff over the last couple of years has just been, I'm like, oh, I wish we could have that, right? So I can admit when the Mariners are a good team, and they've been a great team. They knocked the Astros out of first place. They took it all, and they knocked them out of the postseason, right? And so I got to give them credit for that. The other thing I'll say is I'm a fan of baseball. And so even when the Texas Rangers took it all in 2023, I was like, yeah, go Rangers. That's awesome. And I like seeing different teams in the postseason. That World Series, wasn't enticing to the casual fan between the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. But to me, I was like, this is cool. 2 teams who, the Rangers never been there, and then Diamondbacks who haven't been there in a long time, right? That was exciting for me. I would feel the same way about Mariners, but 3 years ago when they made the postseason for the first time in 21 years, I didn't like my interactions online with Mariners fans. Now, Mariners fans I've met in real life have been great, but you know how social media goes. It's just like, oh, you guys, you're too big for your britches. You gotta do something before you can talk this much trash just because you made it to the postseason as a wild card team in 2022. Now they certainly deserve it. They're all the way in the ALCS. There's going to be a game 7 tomorrow. They've been competitive. So, let's be nicer, Mariners fans. I want you to deserve this, but right now I don't know. I can't root for you right now. What about you?
You're rooting Blue Jay. It's obvious, and I can't blame you for it, honestly. Now, here's a question. Your local rival, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Right. I'm sure there's no love lost for the Los Angeles Dodgers when it comes to your state of mind and the way that the team between their spending, between the way that they handle things, and quite frankly, not to be rude, but they are the better run franchise right now than the Angels. It's just kind of like the way that it is. What is it going to hurt if you see Mariners Dodgers? Like, where is your pain level going to be? Should we avoid you for the next week? How would you be emotionally if you have to watch that? This is like me seeing Mets Red Sox, and I didn't see it live in '86, but this is the same kind of thing as if I were seeing that. What is this? What would this do to you emotionally?
Well, look, I'm going to be here all throughout the postseason on MLB Game Night, of course, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with the great JD Haffern of Locked On Cardinals. So we'll be talking about it. I don't know if I'll be happy to talk about it, but the truth is, as a fan, when the Angels and Dodgers get together, it's always a lot of fun. They swept the Dodgers this season, by the way, 6-0. But that means nothing because the Brewers also swept the Dodgers in the regular season, and they got destroyed, right? So I'll say this. The Dodgers don't bother me unless we're playing each other, and then that's when it's a lot of fun. I am still brokenhearted that, they got Shohei Ohtani, but it made sense. Shohei wanted to go to a winner. He went to the winner. They offered him the most money. They worked it out. So I can't be bitter about that. So if it's Dodgers, Mariners, it's interesting because I think in either scenario, honestly, Brian, I think the Dodgers take it again this year. And the reason why is because the Blue Jays are a better version of what the Brewers did well, forcing the issue, playing small ball, putting the ball in play. but the Dodgers just steamrolled them. Like once that offense goes cold, there's no chance, right? There's no chance. And so if there's a chance that Blue Jays offense goes cold or even the Mariners offense goes cold, like we've seen the last couple of games, I think it's the Dodgers to take all the way to the World Series. What about you?
I want you to do me one favor before we get to the question.
Okay.
One last favor this entire year. I got to know if you're here for me. You got me right here, right?
Okay. Got you.
Ask me who I think's going to win Game 7.
All right. Who do you think's going to win Game 7?
I genuinely don't care. I think either team that wins the American League is going to get smoked by the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I legitimately believe that. I think we're watching a dynasty. Yeah. And I think this team is loaded. I think whatever starter they throw out there in any game is going to be significantly better than whoever the Blue Jays or the Dodgers or the Mariners will throw out there in front of them. I think there is so much more star power in that Dodgers lineup, so much more experience. I trust the Dodgers' depth like Kike Hernandez and Pages, and more than I trust what the Mariners have depth-wise and what the Blue Jays have depth-wise. I think in every aspect of this series, the Dodgers are going to and should be and will lock up that significant favorite spot that they kind of deserve to be in. The only advantage either of these teams have in the American League over the Dodgers is the home field. The Mariners have a better home field and the Blue Jays have a better home field. However, I don't know how much that's going to really matter. I think the Dodgers are so loaded talent-wise, I can't imagine either of these teams. Honestly, can't imagine either of these teams competing much. Yeah, that might sound harsh. I don't think either of these teams are even going to take it 6 games. I think it's over in 5 games or it's a sweep.
Yeah.
I think they're that good. And like that might sound like a crazy sports take, and I'm sure, I'm actually 1,000,000% positive that Blue Jays fans are going to annihilate me on social media if it gets to that point, because you guys are there and supporting your team, and I can't really talk much right now. Totally get it. I genuinely think the Dodgers are going to annihilate whoever they play in the next round. I don't think it's going to be close.
And it's almost an issue of like, yeah, they better, considering, the money they've spent and the guys they've brought in and, the guys that they've brought up as well. It's almost like you better get back-to-back World Series if you're going to be.
And it's not an insult. It's not an insult.
Exactly. Exactly.
I wish my team would operate that way. I wish my team was the juggernaut that the Dodgers are right now. Yeah. I wish my team spent the money and had the prospect pool and did everything the Los Angeles Dodgers do. They are borderline a perfectly run franchise right now.
Exactly. So, and for the Dodger fans out there, just know that the Angels are in their Frank McCourt era with Artie Moreno as the owner. So hopefully we'll be past that in a few years, and then we can actually be a competitive team for the team up the 5 freeway for sure.
You can track all of that and all of offseason news and what the teams will do on both Locked On Yankees, where I host, and Locked On Angels, where John hosts Monday through Friday. Catch us there, and we will see you all over Locked On MLB Game Night throughout the entire postseason. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope that you'll come back and visit us next time on Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night.